Mercedes are on full-on experimenting mode according to several reports. The Silver Aeros introduced a radical upgrade package at Belgium, and the crucial part of that upgrade was the sidepods. While according to the team's estimates, the team has been able to add significant amounts of downforce to the car. But that has triggered porpoising within the W14, something which the team thought that they had under control during the season's start. While this might be bad news on the surface, there is much more good news for us to uncover, as the upgrade seems to be one of those experiments the Silver Aeros are undertaking, with Mercedes making massive improvements to the team's aerodynamic division. So what exactly are Mercedes playing at? Well, stick around to find out. The Silver Aeros introduced a significant upgrade package at Spa, which included a new low-drag, low-downforce rear wing specification, new sidepods, and an upgraded floor. The highlight of this package was the upgrades the team made to the sidepods design. This is becoming quite a trend up and down the grid. Let's not forget that Aston Martin brought a sidepods upgrade to Canada. Even Red Bull brought a sidepods upgrade to Budapest. That really shows the significance of the sidepods in terms of aerodynamics. But for Mercedes, this is the second upgrade they are making to the car's sidepods. The first sidepods upgrade was at Monaco, where the team made the tough decision of making an in-season aero philosophy change. While that change did pay off for the team, as they were able to show much better pace at Barcelona and Canada, there were still some problems which the drivers labeled as making the W14 an uncomfortable car to drive. George Russell and Lewis Hamilton in particular pointed out at the W14's poor rear end to be a big confidence breaker, as the weaker rear end made the W14 unstable when trying to push the car to the absolute limit. The team therefore admitted after Monaco that while fundamental issues have been brought under control after the conceptual change, the team has its full focus on improving the car's rear end by adding downforce to the car. The floor and sidepods upgrade is one step the team has taken in that process. While we don't know how much the underfloor has changed, the sidepods have had significant revisions, which will have huge aerodynamic effects. Starting from the front, the team has changed the shape of the radiator inlet, moving from a box to a more rounded shape. Now, this will have its own aerodynamic implications, but the aim of the team would be to feed more air towards the rear of the car by having more smooth edges. The shape of the sidepods itself is interesting, as this seems to be much more similar to what the Aston Martin car has, but this design resembles more with what Ferrari had in store last year with the F175. The scalloping style sidepods were assumed to be a sort of drag-reducing design by many experts, and it is interesting to see Mercedes having its car inspired by rival teams. The most interesting part of that upgrade is the concave bodywork towards the rear of the sidepods. Mercedes are trying to improve the airflow towards the Coke bottle area to try and energize the car's rear and diffuser section. The aim of these upgrades are simple: reduce the car's overall drag while still generating more downforce efficiently. Has the team been able to achieve that? That is a hard question to answer as of now with the limited data we have from a rain-interrupted race weekend. But from what we have seen, the team has been able to add a significant amount of downforce. But by doing so, has porpoising been brought back into the Mercedes car? This was one question that Toto Wolff wanted his team to make a quick analysis on, as he fears that the changes made to the floor at Spa might be the cause behind the extreme bouncing. I think the floor could have been the reason why we've been bouncing, but we're going to see it in the data. And maybe there's something that we need to find, because I still believe the direction that we're going now is the right one. Hamilton and Russell both expressed their displeasure behind the team's performance at Spa, and pointed out that the bouncing was not something that they hoped to live with for the rest of the season. Hamilton in particular was disappointed with how the race panned out, as the bouncing did hinder his race pace, as the Mercedes car clearly was the third fastest around Spa. The W14 was bouncing extremely on the straights, little on the corners, and also while braking. The bouncing does impact the car's aero performance. Also, the tires tend to degrade faster when the car has extreme bouncing. This could explain both the lack of pace and poor tire degradation which we saw from Hamilton's overall race. But the big question is, why was the Mercedes car bouncing? As we said before, Toto wants answers, and both Hamilton and Russell also dearly would love to have a clear explanation. During the recent Mercedes race debrief video, the CTO of Mercedes, Mike Elliott, took his time to explain what could have caused the bouncing, and his explanation makes a lot of sense. The question we need to ask ourselves is, how much of it is just the circuit we were in, and how much is to be found in setup? Because obviously it was a wet race weekend. We will also take a really good look at the upgrade kit and make sure we've not introduced bouncing with that. But at the moment, our belief is it's probably a result of setup or the circuit itself, Elliott said. The upgraded W14 was at its early days around Belgium, with the team being limited with just one practice session. And according to Elliott, that limitation could have been the reason behind the W14 bouncing, by the team not being able to find the proper setup balance. We all know how sensitive these ground effect cars are to mechanical changes, such as ride height. So, we can assume for now that the team might have been running at a lower ride height to try and gain the maximum they can with its newest upgrades. But clearly, that did not work. And we will have to wait till Zandvoort to see what Mercedes has in the tank with its Belgium upgrades. But the team seems to be not stopping there, as there are substantial leaks over Mercedes having planned an aggressive development plan for the second half of this season. This was teased by the 7-time world champion himself as he addressed all Mercedes fans as we were heading into the summer break. Yeah guys, just want to say a big thank you for the support at all these races. We look forward to seeing some of you in the second half of the season. We will be pushing like crazy in the second half, so be ready, Hamilton said. This was later backed up by Mike Elliott himself, as he mentioned that the team wants to learn as much as they possibly can to put all that data into effect when designing next year's W15. In terms of what we can expect from the second half of the season, we need to keep pushing. We need to keep pushing because we want to learn more about this car so we can take that into the winter and into the development of next year's car, but also we want that fight for second in the championship. So we will keep bringing some upgrades to the car, keep fighting for that second position. This makes a lot of sense, as Allison, the man himself, admitted that his full focus is on next year's W15 and is looking forward to learn as much as he can from this year's W14. So any upgrades they throw at the car will be very crucial, and the team seemingly are now on experimenting mode. We believe first of those experiments was the spa upgrades, as anyone would accept the fact that the new sidepods are an aggressive design. And the team are preparing to make more such changes, not just on the car, but within the team itself. Former aerodynamics development team leader of Red Bull has recently joined Mercedes, and has started to work for the Brackley-based squad as we speak. This recruitment is followed up with previous recruitments from both Red Bull and Ferrari, as the Silver Arrows are trying to build its department of aerodynamics once more to where it was before. Now you might think, how much worth is this ex-Red Bull employee, because the mastermind behind the RB19 is Newey? Well, while Newey might be the mastermind, he cannot execute anything without the help of the other aerodynamics employees at Red Bull, so these employees do share Newey's knowledge, which will be really helpful for Mercedes with their quest to better understand these ground effect technical regulations. Mercedes will therefore certainly bring more upgrades to the W14 later this season. But the team's focus is now on the design of next year's car. That is according to Mike Elliott after the team had introduced their latest upgrade at the Belgian Grand Prix. In terms of what we're trying to learn, what we're trying to achieve, I think we can get that learning on this year's car, said Elliott. We've got to put the focus into the winter development, making sure we've understood all the lessons we can from this year's car, and then turn that into the right things for next year. There are minimal changes to Formula 1's second aerodynamic regulations for 2024, meaning updates being introduced to their car later this year can remain relevant to their 2024 design. But due to the aerodynamic testing restrictions, the 2023 cars cannot act as a test bed to try out a great variety of different ideas. The W14 is a weak car. P2 in the Constructors and P3 in the Drivers' Championship is not something that the Silver Arrows will be happy of, as they always strive for race wins and championships. And the latest experiments in the form of upgrades by the team, combined with the latest acquisition of personnel for the team's Aero division, suggests that the Silver Arrows are hard at work to develop the W14 to a competitive state, and come out all guns blazing next season with an out-of-the-box competitive machine. But what do you guys think? Can Mercedes really turn this season around on the remaining second half? What are you expecting from the Silver Arrows in terms of car development for the rest of the 2023 season? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section down below. We'd love to discuss it with you. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads, to keep yourselves up to date about the 2023 Formula 1 season.